What's up, guys? All right, so just got a whole bunch more parts from Freed Engineering. Shout out to those guys. So just got the tile blow-off valve. Got this O-ring set up. About to install it on the lower intercooler pipe. So I'll show that now. This looks good. So when you're tightening up these tile blow-off valves, I didn't realize, but you really gotta snug this up. I mean, for a second it felt like I was making it way too tight. It's all aluminum, you know, aluminum blow-off valve and piping, and even the clamps aluminum, the bolts aluminum, everything's aluminum, so you don't wanna over tighten it. I just made it real snug with a small, what is this? It's a 3/8, sorry, it's a 1/4 inch ratchet with a, what you would call it, 5/32. All right, so this is everything that comes with the Freed Engineering kit. It's all labeled for 1 to 2, 2 to 2, and then, you know, intercooler, and then the other side of the intercooler was labeled for this one. I took the wrap off already, but this is essentially it, and then this is the front mount. So I'm just setting up the couplers now before I take off the front bumper. So this is the last time I'm gonna see it without the intercooler. No, it actually still looks pretty freaking cool without the front mount, but I can't wait to see her smile. Man, I swear I'm always having this car go under surgery. Oh yeah. All right, I probably should have recorded this, but I took off this old fan that was on here for the automatic transmission. So that's already popped out. This one clip up here was really freaking stuck. So I took off all the bolts and then just pried on that until it popped out. Now I'm using some pry bars to flatten out the power steering lines so I can make them as flat as possible. And then I'm gonna get them as close as I can to this radiator in a minute so that I'll be able to fit the front mount. So now I have clearance, and now I got a lot more space for the front mount. All right, so I'm installing the Freed front mount. So it looks like you have to remove these small nuts right here. That's it. So I'll thread in the rest of the parts and then start installing the front mount. Looks like I'm gonna have to do some trimming in this area. Or maybe I'll just pop this out, it might be easier. With the Freed kit, it looks like they come out with these studs, but they are pretty short, so I don't know how much I trust them to actually hold the intercooler. You can see the back of the bolt, I mean, it's pretty deep in there, so I don't think, it's not really gonna hold too much weight in my opinion. So I'm gonna put these brackets on now, but they bolt in through the bottom. Looks like right here. Unfortunately, it's a little bit snug, so I'm gonna drill and oval out this a little bit more so that the bolt will go through, because right now it's going in sideways. So what I started doing was I just got a drill bit, and now I'm just making these a little bit more oval. So this one and this one. This is what they look like before. So I'm gonna oval them out more so I have more clearance so that the bolts are closer together, because currently on the frame, that's what's happening. And then I'll try again. Wow. This looks sick. Damn. I just gotta cut this out now so that the piping can go through here, and then start routing. Make sure everything fits snug. All right, so another update with all the intercooler piping on. I found an intake to make this fit. It's definitely just a random aluminum pipe that was bent through. So I had to make a cut, and then I tried to sand it down because it was really beat up. So definitely doesn't look super clean, but neither does the rest of the piping. So I'll come back at a later time and polish it all up. HKS intake looks great now though. I mean, right behind the passenger side headlight, it's got enough space to still do the bulbs and everything. Blow-off valve is installed, vacuum line is routed and zip tied up. It's perfectly clearing just about everything. I mean, it looks snug, but it's actually got a decent amount of space right there. And if I really have to, I'll just get a pry bar and make more space in the future, but I don't think that's gonna be an issue. So yeah, it's looking kind of dirty, but I'm trying to get this done. I feel like I'm taking way too long. Freed engineering, coolant reservoir is here on the side. So I bolted it right here. This is where the old neck is for the, it's essentially for your windshield washer fluid. But since I did a delete, I decided to just use this. And then at the bottom of the reservoir, there is a line right here. So what I did was I bent it up so that it'd come out this side. So I'm gonna feed a little bit back up. So there we go. I'm gonna pull this kink out in just a sec. And then here is the other line going up to the radiator. All right, y'all, so I'm about to install the intake air temperature sensor. So the intake air temperature sensor, essentially what it does is it calculates how much, well actually the temperature of the air right before it goes into the throttle body right here. All right, so now I'm gonna pin the intake air temperature sensor. So I ran the wires through. I'm gonna take the shielding off, and then I'm going to set up these connections right here. So I'll just crimp these onto the wire, and then I can just pull the wire back through and it'll lock in place. All right, so I got this one pinned on. So got the clamps, kind of hard to see on camera, but that little tab right there, that's what clips in whenever I pull the wire back. But the shield's completely wrapped around it. It looks like the bracket, I crimped it just right. It's tight on both areas, on the bottom and on the top where it's like little claws. And then I'm starting the other one. So it's hard to see on camera. I'm gonna try to get, all right. So yeah, it's hard to see on camera, but you really gotta pay attention to like this little tab right in the middle of the screen. So that little tab right there, whenever you're doing the crimping, that little tiny tab in the middle, you really gotta pay attention and make sure that it's not that one right there. Ignore my dirty nails, but the one right there, you kind of have to pull it back because sometimes it's too flat and you can't get the cable through. That's it. Only the slightest click. She's pinned. I just gotta push this shielding back in. All right, I'm really taking my time with this. So I got this pinned, plugged in, ran the harness behind here, and then I tucked it inside, essentially the frame, the bracket. It's all the way underneath here. So now it's coming back out here. Did a bunch of shielding just to be safe, protect the wire. So I'm gonna finish up shielding and then I'm gonna route it through the wheel well and into the cab. All right, now I have to pin it into the ECU. So these tiny little pins on the back of them, there's some, I mean, unfortunately these are not a lot of space on the back, but you stick the wire in there and then you crimp it, and then you have to run it through the back pin, whatever you choose, and then it locks in place. There's tiny little tabs right there that lock into place. Like, I'm trying to zoom in on right there. It looks like a little neck, like right there. So when it locks in, whenever it pops into place, then you hold it locked in by putting this in here, and you slide that in, and this clips into place as well. So it's a little tedious, and you really gotta focus when you're doing this. So my eyes are a little strained already. That harness is routed through. Now I just finished pinning this up right there. So you see those pins, so it's my ground and my signal. So that's wired all the way up. So now I can connect it to the ECU.